We begin with breaking news tonight. At least 3 people died on Friday after nearly a dozen suffered overdoses. Welcome to KGW News. I'm Blair Best. The overdoses happened in downtown Portland, all within 13 hours. On Friday, officers received 11 calls for overdoses between 10:30 in the morning and 11 at night. In 3 cases, people died. At this point, we don't know much about these victims, but we do know that one person was a 33-year-old man and another was a 25-year-old woman. At 6 of the calls, officers used Narcan to save people. Now, Portland police suspect that the majority of these overdoses were a result of fentanyl. Remember, if you are having a drug-related emergency or know someone else who is, call authorities. Oregon law grants immunity from drug-related offenses for those calling for emergency medical assistance. Now to more sobering numbers from Portland police tonight. There have been 19 homicides in the Rose City so far this year, and 10 of them happened in March. The most recent shooting happened in the Lentz neighborhood late last night around 10:15. Here's the scene along Southeast Crystal Springs Boulevard. Multiple police cars lined the road after the shooting, and PPB says officers found a woman dead when they arrived, and the suspect left before authorities got there. No arrests have been made. We'll continue to bring you the latest details on air and online. This is an ongoing investigation. Now, just last weekend, Portland saw 4 confirmed shootings, with the deadliest shooting of the year happening a week ago today. During that shooting, 3 Portland high school students were shot while in a car in Portland's North Portsmouth neighborhood. And it happened in the middle of the day, shaking that neighborhood to its core.
Shocked that this happened.
The very idea that this could happen, I hear witnesses here said there were 10 to 15 shots. That's a lot of bullets flying around.
On April 15th, a gun violence community rally is planned. The Stop the Violence rally is happening at 1 p.m. at Jefferson High School. And you can find more information at betterportland.wordpress.com. You can also find details on our website, kgw.com. Now to a live look at Timberline tonight. As you can see there, the mountain is getting covered with snow. The mountain got nearly 2 feet of new snow within the last 3 days. And here to check out our Rose City sky cam, frequent showers hit the city overnight and continued throughout most of the day today. Forecaster Daisy Caballero is joining me in the studio. And Daisy, will this rain last all the way through the weekend?
Blair, yes, we're expecting to see some pockets of rain and then also some sunbreak and also mountain snow into those higher elevations. Let's take you outside right now. Like we just said, partly sunny skies here in the Portland metro area, 50 degrees, winds coming out from the west at right around 13 miles an hour. So, hey, so this is again what we are experiencing. And like you just said, Timberline, 21 degrees, nearly a 30-degree temperature change from where we are here in the Portland metro area. And yes, they saw nearly 2 feet of fresh new snow within the last 72 hours, and more is actually on the way as we're talking. Winter storm warning for the Cascades and also the coastal range, alongside a winter weather advisory over near the east. We'll break out all these numbers coming up in my full forecast. But checking out our coast range cameras, things are looking pretty good as we're looking at Sunset Rest area. They're right around 1,400 feet of elevation. Things are looking still pretty good, Rainier Summit and also Lee's Camp. Now, completely different story as we're going over to the Cascade cameras. Just check this out. Whiteout conditions, Government Camp, St. Anne Pass as well. And that's also the case for Willamette Pass too. So if you're planning to go snowboarding, skiing, just be very mindful and obviously check those roads before you go. But this is a really quick glance at what the next 3 days are going to be looking like. Again, rain is possible. Thunderstorms are also possible for tomorrow. And then we'll start to see some rain and snow showers as we're kicking off our new work week. Back to you, Blair.
All right, Daisy, lots to keep an eye on.
And we're going to do everything we can to make sure the people of our state are back on their feet again.
At least 22 people are dead across several states after ferocious tornadoes tore through the South and Midwest on Friday. The tornadoes hit Arkansas, Indiana, Tennessee, Illinois, Mississippi, and Alabama. NBC's Emily Ikeda has the details from Little Rock, Arkansas, where a state of emergency is now in place.
Hey there, well, evidence of the sheer force of these storms just about everywhere you look here in Little Rock, Arkansas. behind me, you'll look at those storefronts. They are completely blown out. I actually just spoke with a gentleman who was inside one of those stores. He saw the tornado closing in with such a force, he says, it blew him back by about 10 or 15 feet. More evidence of those powerful, monstrous winds. Take a look right here. Witnesses describing cars being tossed as if they were toys, this one flipping onto another, and that's the scene really across this entire parking lot. Here in Pulaski County, Arkansas, there have been more than 50 people hospitalized. One person, according to authorities, has been tragically killed. Looking eastward, more people killed in Cross County, Arkansas. The governor here declaring a state of emergency as search and rescue missions continue to play out today. The other thing you'll know, in the background, you might be able to hear the sound of the beeping of construction vehicles, the buzz of chainsaws as they face this massive cleanup effort. And Arkansas isn't alone. There were dozens of reported tornadoes across 7 states in the Mississippi Valley. I'm Emily Ikeda in Little Rock, Arkansas. I'll send it back to you.
Well, back to your local headlines. Officials have formally charged a man with murder in the deaths of a Vancouver woman and her 7-year-old daughter. We've been following this story since Michelle Melendez and Layla Stewart were reported missing earlier this month. Michelle's former boyfriend, Kirkland Warren, is already in custody on multiple charges and is now facing 2 murder charges. Friday's charges come after the medical examiner confirmed that Michelle and Layla died from gunshot wounds. Vancouver police say the bullets matched the gun belonging to Kirkland Warren. He was named a person of interest when Michelle and Layla went missing. Now, Warren was first arrested earlier this month after police say he shot at Michelle in her apartment last year. He was able to post bail, and just 2 days later, the two went missing. Police re-arrested Warren for violating the protective order. Now, during a search of his vehicles, investigators found a gun, blood in front and back seat of his car, Michelle's purse, and children's clothing that matched what Layla was wearing. It wasn't until last week that police found the bodies in a rural area in Washougal. Warren is in the Clark County Jail without bail right now. He's also awaiting trial for a murder in Arkansas. Well, developing tonight, a suspect has been arrested and charged with 2 brutal attacks and robberies in downtown Portland. Officials have identified him as 34-year-old Harold Griffin III. Police say Griffin hit a victim with a golf club before he poured hot coffee on them and stole their backpack. That was at 5th and Salmon. And 1 day later, and a few blocks north at 5th and Burnside, police say Griffin attacked another man. Police say that victim was found unconscious on the sidewalk. He'd also been robbed. We talked to people who live or work downtown about how these seemingly random attacks keep hurting downtown's struggling reputation.
So I'm walking downtown all the time, and I'm concerned about safety, not only for myself, because I feel like I have street smarts, but for people that don't, it's blocking or inhibiting our revitalization of our downtown.
Griffin was arrested Friday morning following a disturbance at Southwest 4th and Washington. He's now charged with multiple felony counts. Well, lawmakers are hoping to make a change as the cost of prescription medications continues to rise. Oregon Senator Ron Wyden is heading up a congressional investigation into what experts say is a lesser-known part of the problem. Our Tim Gordon has more on pharmacy benefit managers.
If you've not heard the term pharmacy benefits manager, just think Express Scripts, Caremark, Optum Rx, and others. 85% of Americans get their prescriptions through a pharmacy benefits manager, or PBM. But PBMs are under fire for practices that drive up the cost of prescription medications, with the independent pharmacies and consumers getting the worst of it. For everything from generic prostate drugs to insulin, PBMs have a hand in setting prices for what it pays manufacturers and also for what it charges insurance companies and individuals, which too often is way too much.
And people care a whole lot about this matter of getting mugged at the pharmacy counter. They don't get it.
As chair of the U.S. Senate Finance Committee, Oregon Senior Senator Ron Wyden led a hearing this week with a panel of experts on the PBM problem. Here's the history. When insurance companies began offering prescription drugs as a health plan benefit in the 1960s, pharmacy benefit managers were created to help insurers contain drug spending. Originally, PBMs decided which drugs were covered in an insurance plan and administered drug claims. It was supposed to be good for insurers and ultimately their customers. But over the years, a lack of transparency and regulation has turned PBMs into huge price-manipulating, profit-making organizations. According to Pacific University pharmacy professor Mike Millard, the solution has evolved into a problem.
The question becomes, well, how much of this are you keeping? How much of this should you be using to benefit the Oregonian, the person, versus the insurance company? And it's pretty clear that almost none of this savings is ever passed along to the patient.
Attorneys general in many states, including Oregon, have tried to take on the PBMs. But now a national spotlight with congressional investigations trying to get to the bottom of a broken system affecting millions of people in Oregon and Washington and across the country.
And we need to get to a situation that it's where people can really understand what the price of their medication is, and it becomes affordable for them to get what they need to maintain their health.
Tim Gordon, KGW News.